Dear students, let's start lecture number 14 of the course Wireless Network on the topic CSMA with CA and modulation. This is our today outline. So first we will revise lecture number 13 and then we will discuss CSMA CA 802.11 request to send and clear to send exchanges. Then we will discuss what is modulation, why do we need modulation, reasons of modulation. We will be discussing some of the reasons of modulation, and then I'll give you assignment at the end. Then I'll share my resources which I have used in preparing these slides, and then we will have question answer session. So first we will revise lecture number 13, in which we discuss wireless express access point, or WAP, or simply you may call it as AP. In the wireless access point, we will be we had discussed BSS, PSSID, SSID, ESS, ESSID, and association. So let's start with WLAN, or wireless access point. Normally, in wireless access point, as the name indicates, LAN, but this is wireless LAN. So, in the LAN, as you know, the LAN works in layer 2, where switches normally uh, applied to make your LANs. So here we will be having access points. So normally it is used to create wireless local area network for homes, schools, campus, offline buildings, and it comes under the IEEE standard 802.11, and its market name is Wi-Fi. You may normally call it as wireless fidelity. So normally it is imagined that in wireless network we don't have wires. Actually, at the edges you don't have wires, but above that all the network is of wire based. So all the network is connected with the wires. So WAP, a wireless access point, simply called access point, is a device that accepts wireless signals. And what it does, that what access point does, that it gets signals and then it retransmit in a range, normally it in a defined range, where devices can connect. Only those devices connect which has wireless access capabilities, like laptop or mobile. Those devices will be get connected. So web or access point may also known as base station, and or AP at home often include routing function. Normally it is access point is considered as it is a layer 3. No, this is not a layer 3 device. This is layer 2 device. Actually it works like a bridge. What bridge does, that it receives signals and retransmit it. So wireless access point does the same. um, AP is a layer 2 device, as I mentioned, but there are two networks are in separate. So they belong to one broadcast domain. So what access point does, that it connects your wireless end with your wired end. Okay. So this is lower layer 2 two device, and one broadcast domain will be formed. For example, if how many access points you have, but you have only one broadcast domain. They belong to one local area network, as I mentioned. AP is just another layer 2 device, like a switch, handles frames and MAC addresses. Like switch handles what switch handles? Switch handles frames and MAC addresses. Similarly, access point handles frames and MAC addresses. So this is BSS and BSSID. So for example, if you have one, if you consider this as a range, so we have four BSS here. You can say basic service set. So each service set has its own access point, and this is the range, you may call it, this is the range. So basic set identifier identify each BSS from others. Like this has its own BSS ID, this has its own BSS ID, and each one has its own BSS ID. So like your MAC addresses, this has the 48, each BSS ID is of 48-bit hexadecimal number. Like if you have seen the MAC address, so MAC address is also of 48 bits. So this is like the same as you have MAC address. So a wireless user, you are not see BSS ID, but it included in a wireless package and frames. You can see SSID, normally it is called network name. Normally whenever the network get published, so if you open your wireless network, you will get the names of the network. So we normally call it as SSID. You can name it by any language. As a user, you can only create about SSID. You select one from the list by providing your username and password. By default, it will broadcast SSID in its service area. So here you can see that ESSA and ESSID. So when two BSS, they are combined and put in the one uh, range. So we call it extended service set. So this is called extended service set, and each extended service set has its own ID. And why it is used? It is used if you want to perform roaming. For example, if you want to move from here to this network, so this ESSID works for identifying that you are the part of this network, and your communication will be done seamlessly if you leave your own AP and moves to another AP. So extended service set, the shared network name is referred to as service set identifier, but normally you cannot see that in 802.11. You can just see the SSID and SSID for ESSID. Normally, for example, if you have this SSID, so it works as ESSID. Normally, for example, if you want to move from this AP to this AP, so you can move from one network to another or another BSS. So you can get connected with the same network. So this is called ESSID. When you as a user walk from one device from one service set to another, here you can see if you want to move from A to B, so your communication will not be interrupted because your ESSID is the same. So your communication will not be interrupted, and you will be get connected seamlessly. So your device and access point, your device and your access point done all these things in your background without letting you know that your AP has been changed. Now, there are two types of method performed for association, like active scanning and passive scanning, and then you have a reassociation. So what the association is, association means when the wireless devices register with an AP to get the full access of the network. So how you will get the access from a router or access point, you call it as a association. So association occurs in infrastructure base, but not in ad hoc networks. As you know that wireless network, they are divided into two branches, like infrastructure base, where you have infrastructure, and infrastructure less network, like where you don't have any infrastructure, like ad hoc network. Infrastructure in an infrastructure base, you can call as a GSM, or so the GSM, or where the infrastructure is available, we call that network under the infrastructure network. So for the association, you need infrastructure. And now as we mentioned, that association has of two type, like active association or active scanning. So in active scanning, device start the scanning. For example, if this is the device and this is in the range of both the access points, so the device will start um, sending probe continually to access point, and then they will send their information to this device, and then this device will get the information and determine that with which access point it will be get connected. For example, in this case, this device is getting connecting with this access point, because the signal strength of this access point is greater than this access point. And then finally access point will finalize this one and allow him to get the full access. This is how the active association is done. While in passive association, uh, uh, beacon packet is sent by access point through all its channel, and the device will be listening. Like for example, if you see in this case, device will be listening. So the process of association will be started by the access point, whereas in the active association, the process of association is started by the device. So here you can see that when the device will be in the beginning, device will sit back and listen to the probe or a beacon packets coming on different channels, and then it will get the information from those access point, and then send the message to the appropriate access point which that device wants to connect, and then the access point will finally respond with the final with the approval of association, and then the device can get full access to the network. This is, in this case, you can see the device is selecting AP1, and then this device will confirming that okay, now you will get the full access to this network. So this is how passive association is done. In the re-association and roaming, like for example, if you are in different, you have a different BSS and you moving from one BSS to another, as we mentioned in our previous slides, that as you have a same ESS ID, so you can move seamlessly. So your device and your access point will decide that, and you will be get connected, and your connection will not be lost, and you will be connecting your network. So all the APs within the same ESS would use the same ESSI as a network name. uh, to a mobile device, the network connection wouldn't be lost while it's moving. So this is the main thing, that for example, if you are moving from one BSS to another, so your connection will not be lost, and you will be you will be communicating as you were communicating with your previous access point. The process of a device keeping the connection with different access point is called reassociation. So now you are connecting with different access point, so this is called reassociation. Definitely you will have to perform the process of association, but this will be done automatically through this 802.11 architecture. So reassociation, this feature allow mobile device roaming. When a user walks your device from one services to another, you wouldn't notice any different, even though you are using different access point. Both devices and access point work behind the scene to make roaming possible. This is how it is done. So now let's start lecture number 14 uh, on the topic carrier sense, multiple access, and modulation. So this is our today outline. As we discussed that CSMA CA 802.11 request to send and request to request to send and clear to send exchange. What is modulation? Why do we need modulation, and reason for modulation? So now come to CSMA. Carrier sense multiple access with collision avoidance, a medium control method for IEEE 802.11 wireless local area network. Normally, if I brief with each word like carrier sense. So carrier sense means a node in a network can detect what is going on the transmission medium. Like for example, we have senses, we can see, we can touch, we can taste. So similarly, node has senses, and how that senses will be developed through a carrier sense. So carrier will be sensed before, if you want to send any information over the channel, so the channel will be sensed first. So carrier means shared medium, and sense means a node can listen and detect. So similarly, the node has also a sense, and they have senses of listening and detecting. Multiple access, even in the network, has a equal right to access to and use the shared medium, but must take turn. As you know that we have a different kind of a node, so each node has a right to access the channel, but each one has to wait for its turn before getting access to the channel. So before a node transmit data, check or listen to the medium. So this is the mandatory requirement. For example, if a node wants to send any information over the channel, so what the node have to follow, that it will have to check or listen to the medium. When the medium is not busy, the node can send its signal or a data. If a medium if detects the medium is used, it will back off and wait for a random amount of time and try again. Collision avoidance. Unlike CSMA CD, uh, which deals with the transmission after a collision has occurred, nature of wireless medium makes it harder for a node to detect collision. So we are avoiding actually. In the CSMA CD, if you remember what we were doing, that we will have some strategies using that. We will have to sort it out after the collision is happened. So nature of wireless medium make it harder. This is thus CSMSA tried to prevent the collision before they happen. To put it simply, protect protocol tries to avoid collision at the first place compared to uh, compared to the wired LAN. The process of communication on the wireless network would take more steps. Here you can see, I'll explain that with the help of 802.11 RTS CTS exchange, means a request to send or clear to send exchange before actually node send the data over the communication channel. The process is called 802.11 RTS CTS exchange. Here we explain how it works between a node and a wireless access point or a WAP. For example, if my laptop wants to send data to access point, so what it does, that it first is send and detect the channel is free or not. If it is busy in any of its activity, it will let my laptop know that you have to wait for a random period of time and then try again, because no channel is free at this moment of time. Then my laptop, after some time, my laptop will try again and detect that there is no activity found, so it will transmit request to send. But hold on, laptop will not send the data, will not start sending the data until it will not get the confirmation from the wireless access point. So it will it will ask from the wireless access point to confirm that clear to send send the clear to send receipt before actually send the data. So if this is busy, so for example in this case you can see that it is mentioning that I am busy, so you will not get the clear to send receipt. So laptop will not send, and laptop will again wait for random period of time, and then it will try again. In this case you can see that laptop is trying and trying for a channel, and now no activity is found, and then it reaches the access point where it confirms that okay, you are clear to send. Now you can send the data, and now you can your transmission can be completed. So now the node or device will send its data to the access point. This is not just the channel, you will have to complete whole the process. When you get the clear to send receipt from the wireless access point, then you can send your data to the device. So this is how RTS and CTS exchange is performed in carrier sense multiple access. Actually, this is the process of avoiding the collision in the collision over the channels. Because if the collision happens, you have to resend the data, and time will be wasted, and you will not only damage your communication, but no one will be able to communicate. So this standard will be followed for getting the token from the channel before sending your data. Now, what the modulation is? Suppose we want, because this is most important topic, that what the modulation is. Suppose we want to transmit our digital signal over a channel, such as conversation over the phone, music from radio stations. We need carrier wave to deliver our digital signal or a data. In general, frequency of carrier wave is higher than the data than that of a data signal wave. Modulation is the process of imposing our data signal wave onto a carrier wave. So what we will be doing, that we will be imposing our data signal on a carrier wave. So carrier wave means that this wave will be carrying our data to the destination. So modulation is the process of changing some properties such as amplitude or a frequency of a carrier wave with a digital signal wave as an input. So you will be providing your data to the carrier wave, and then the carrier wave will take your data to the destination. Why do we need modulation? Um, why don't we send the data signal or directly? Let us talk about experience which probably everyone have had before. If we try to throw a piece of paper far away from us, the piece of paper would not go far even if we throw it very hard. However, it would not be difficult to get the piece of over a further distance if we wrap a stone with it and throw them together. Digital signals are like this piece of paper. So stone is like a carrier wave. Modulation is wrapping the stone with a paper, with a piece of paper, so that we can send through them together in a way we want. Why we perform modulation? So these are the reasons that why we perform modulation. So technically there are many reasons why we need modulation, but here we have only talk about purposes of modulation. So first one is digital wave, that is chat or music is a low frequency signal wave. Lower frequency wave is more susceptible to interference than higher frequency waves. Modulation make the data signal waves a higher frequency wave. So this converts your data to, or a signal to, a higher frequency wave. So higher frequency wave would have more bandwidth, thus carrying more data. So This is another benefit of performing modulation. Lower frequency signal would require a much larger size of antenna at the receiving end. Modulation would reduce the antenna size with increase of the wave frequency. This is the advantage number 3. Now the advantage number 4 is security is another reason. In many cases with modulation, data signal is a kind of hidden inside carrier wave. So this is also helps your to make your data secure. Now with that, you read and submit different modulation techniques which are available in wireless networks. So these are the resources which I have cited for making these slides. You can go through each to get more knowledge or information about this topic. So if you have any questions, you can ask me through WhatsApp or KCMS. I'll be more than happy to answer your question. So with that, we reach end of this lecture. So till next lecture, Allah Hafiz.